It's Saturday, October 11th, 2025, and I'm doing my month weekly video for you from the Balance Mind Theology channel, based out of my company, Mental Health Empowerment Group, designed to educate, encourage, support those with mental illness and relationship, marriage, and family ministries. So I'm excited to be with you today. As you can see, I have a little boo boo. I sprained my finger, so I'm not feeling too well. I'm kind of medicated up with this finger here, and can't type and can't write, and so this finger is injured. So please pray for my finger. But anyway, I hope that you will enjoy this video as we discuss trauma, the ins and outs of trauma. This is actually based off of Shawnee Anderson, if I'm pronouncing her name right, Shawnee Anderson. She taught at my mental health coaching certification program with the American Association of Christian Counselors, and she taught a lesson on trauma. And I'd like to share it with you because yesterday was World Mental Health Day, and I didn't get a chance to do video or post anything on my Facebook page about that. But as you can see, I injured my finger. But I'd like to talk to you a little bit about mental health as it relates to trauma today. So there's several different types of trauma, and the first one that Miss Anderson talks about is a single event trauma, and that's a one-time event trauma. For example, you have a car accident, or you've been mugged, or you were robbed, or something. It just occurs one time. That's a single event trauma. But then there's something that's a little bit more complex, and that's chronic trauma. And that's ongoing exposure to stress. Example, combat, domestic violence. That's chronic trauma. And then there's what's known as complex trauma. And this is really severe trauma. It's multiple forms of traumas, multiple traumas over a period of time, such as child abuse, mental, sexual, emotional abuse, all different kinds of abuses like that occurred over multiple times, so multiple traumas over a period of time, and it's often experienced in childhood. So, when children are young, so a lot of times you see children who are in foster care, and it says they have trauma. That's a complex. That's known as complex trauma. There's attachment or development trauma. Children are not bonding to mother during the first 3 to 6 years of life. It's very important that children bond and attach to their mother, their fathers too, but primarily to their mothers in the first 3 to 6 years of their life. That's why I also make these videos and talk about marriage and the family and the importance of parenting and marriage and the family, because I have an education background. I see children being broken up from their families. And so it's so important that children attach and bond with their mother, because it can lead to an intellectual disability. It can really affect their attachment and emotional health. And so that's attachment or developmental trauma. Children not bonding to their mother, having an intellectual disability in the first 3 to 6 years of their life. So the next is a community trauma. That's an event or trauma that took place over a widespread community or area. A thing like a hurricane, a tornado, a natural disaster, earthquake, COVID back in 2020. That was a community trauma. So community trauma. The last trauma is vicarious trauma, and that's also known as compassion fatigue. And that's when individuals who work with people dealing with who live with trauma, they themselves could become traumatized. So, like a psychiatrist or psychologist or licensed practical mental health person, professional, and they become traumatized listening to their patients discuss their trauma. So that's called vicarious trauma. There is a difference between, Miss Anderson told us, there's a difference between big T trauma and little t trauma. And a big T trauma are those events that happen where you think, oh my God, I think I'm going to die. That's a big T trauma. That's like soldiers on the front lines, natural disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, man made disasters, example, chemical spills, bridges falling, uh, like here in the 757 of my area where I live, we have a lot of tunnels and bridges. So the Monitor Merrimack crashing, or the James River Bridge crashing, or the HRBT crashing and falling. That would be a big T trauma. Uh, Accidents, car accidents, boating. This is where a boating accident, this is where your life, you feel life is threatened and you feel like, oh my God, I think I'm going to die. Rape, mass shootings, school shootings, anything like going through life threatening issues such as having cancer and having to, or uh, going through surgery and then waking up and then the anesthesia not going all the way through and then waking up in the middle of the surgery and being awake and can't speak, but you can feel the needle, you can feel the surgeon putting something in you. So domestic violence and children who witness it in child abuse. So all these are known as big T traumas. Oh my God, I think I'm going to die. Little T traumas, they are upsetting experiences, but we don't feel like we're going to die. These are things such as going through a divorce, infidelity, someone repeatedly cheating on you, financial debt and strain, and a loss of a job, or uh, bullying and verbal abuse at school, racial discrimination. These are non life threatening medical emergencies or emergencies, but they have a very distressing thing on us, but impact on us. But they are not like, I think I'm going to die, but they are still, these are little T traumas. Now, here are some of the effects of trauma. When individuals have big T or little T trauma, they will have very distressing experiences when they revisit it. So, a lot of times we've heard of PTSD, and these are people who have nightmares about being on the front lines in combat in the war or something, or if a person may went was at a school shooting and they pass by the school uh, and they see the school, it might bring up memories of the shooting, of the mass shooting when they passed on the interstate passing by the school. So that's some of the effects of trauma. That's for big T and little T trauma. They'll have very disturbing experiences. With also with trauma, people can experience withdrawal. They can isolate. They can disconnect from friends and families. They sleep up. They may sleep a lot or sleep too little. They'll have issues. And some may even black out, Miss Anderson said. They'll have lasting anxiety. They can have panic and depression problems. Many feel on the edge or panicky. Have anger, irritability, or sadness that can come with depression. The individuals who struggle with alcohol addict, the individuals with trauma will more likely struggle with addictions to alcohol, food, sex, shopping, uh, drugs, anything to deal with the trauma. Especially if they haven't talked with a trained trauma professional, so they may uh, try to deal with the trauma by using what we call coping mechanisms. So they are four more times likely to become an alcoholic. They are four more times likely to develop an STD. They are four more times likely to inject drugs. They're three times more likely to use antidepressants. They're three times more likely to be absent from work or school. They're three times more likely to have job problems, 2.5 times more likely to smoke, and 15 times more likely to commit suicide. And that is the most devastating effect of trauma, is committing suicide. Now, there is hope. If you are a teacher, if you are a pastor, if you are a mental health coach, if you are a counselor, or if you are just a friend and you know someone who has experienced trauma, there's hope. And one of the things Ms. Anderson told us we could do is to validate what they've gone through, validate their emotions, validate the experiences, because some will be more open about it, others will withdraw and be quiet, a little bit more sad and withdrawn and angry about it. But their emotions are valid, so you have to validate their emotions. Help them stay grounded. Staying grounded, helping the individual stay in the present. Staying grounded means being mindful, staying in the here and now. Often people who experience trauma focus on the past, and they think negative. They think about the past a lot. They bring back past memories. So help them stay present and here and in the here and now. Help them stay grounded. You can help them do this by incorporating mindfulness activities, um, helping them learn to take a deep breath, taking a deep breath daily. Take a deep breath in, hold it for 4 seconds, then exhale, releasing it for 4 seconds. Count for 4 to 8 seconds, then releasing it, exhaling at 8 seconds. 8 seconds. So taking a deep breath, and then you should have a referral list. If you can't help them on your own by being a friend, by being a lay counselor, by being a minister to church, by being a pastor, have a referral list to refer them out to a trauma specialist. So find trauma specialists in your area. If you're a mental health coach, find trauma specialists in your area, or a pastor or teacher, guidance counselor, and refer that person out. So, in conclusion, trauma is real, but so is recovery. Uh, it means that we can eventually find growth, we can deepen our faith, we can have a renewed sense of purpose as we walk with others through their healing journey with trauma. We help them find the love and the compassion that Jesus Christ Himself implemented and Jesus Christ Himself carried out. We can help them find that. So we can offer this by not just being sympathetic, but being tangible, being present, and giving them support and guidance. So that's a little bit about trauma today. I hope I have shared something that enlightened you. I hope I have shared something that has encouraged you, inspired you to want to learn more about trauma, to educate yourself about trauma. If you have trauma, I hope that gave you some ideas about ways that you might can take care of your trauma. So that's just a little bit about trauma. I hope that you will continue to remember that there's no health like mental health. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.